All human cultures have the tendency to look at themselves through a distorted lens. Unfortunately, the beliefs and the assumptions which distort their perspective are untouchable for most people. Mythology blinds us, much like a blind spot in the car. The difference being that human cultures don't know what they don't see, and don't want to know. The reason for this is simple. No culture ever admits that its own beliefs are myths. This is a label reserved for foreign or outdated ideas. It may be that you consider yourself monotheistic, agnostic, or atheist, but the reality is the chances are you are actually polytheistic. Regardless of what one says they worship or don't worship, it is not lip service that defines a true religion, but rather the devotion and service that one gives something that actually counts. So in that context, what are the gods of the 21st century? What do the people of our time bow to and honor? What do they obey? What is it that they actually serve? At the pinnacle of the modern pantheon is an ancient and ruthless god originating in Mesopotamia around 10,000 years ago. In English, we commonly refer to this entity as the state. When we talk about the state, it's important to clarify that we're not referring to the people acting in the name of the state. The elected or unelected bureaucrats which administer the system are not the state any more than the Catholic Church is Jesus. That which most people call government is actually the priestly class of an unseen deity. The priests, often referred to as politicians, merely act in its name and pretend to be its earthly representatives. Of course, to the average person, the idea that the state is a deity must seem absurd. Certainly the state is real. We all know it's real. It rules over our lives. It controls the course of our society. Really? Prove it. Show me the state. Is the state the buildings that the politicians meet in? If so, by that definition, the Christian God would be the chapels and the temples. The state is obviously not the politicians. They're only humans. So where did they derive their supposed power? Saying that their power comes from the act of voting is absurd. Voting is just a ritual in the church of the state. A group of individuals cannot vote to confer the power to kill, steal, and wage war to a politician, because you cannot give away a power or a right that you do not possess yourself. So is the state the laws and the regulations written on paper? Of course not. This is like saying that a printed book is a god. The state is none of these things, and yet it permeates them on all levels, because what a state really is a belief. Our modern mythology hides this from us, but if we look back at the origins of the state, the reality is much more clear. The earliest rulers didn't beat around the bush about it. They declared themselves to be literal gods, and demanded to be worshipped as such. When that no longer worked, they claimed to be ordained by God. And over the years, as that excuse fell out of favor, they hid behind a tangled web of rules, regulations, and documents that obfuscates reality. That reality being that the priestly class, the state, derives its power solely from our faith. The second god in our modern pantheon is a deity which is just as old as the state, and arguably even more powerful: money. People have the tendency to think that money is the pieces of paper in their pocket, inscribed with strange symbols and Latin phrases. But this is an illusion. Those pieces of paper and the digits in your bank account have no power or value in and of themselves. In reality, they are edicts issued by the priestly class of the monetary system. This is where the term fiat money comes from. Fiat is a synonym for edict or order. There was a time when the priestly class for the state was also the priestly class of money. But in a series of carefully orchestrated coups, a new priestly class took control. The current priest of the monetary system are the banks, the untouchable administrators of the monetary faith. They alone hold the power to create money, and due to the fact that the priestly class of the state is quite susceptible to corruption, those with the power to create money have ended up controlling everything. There are countless other deities in the modern pantheon. Obviously, we don't have time to deal with all of them here. These deities can be political, religious, anti-religious, atheistic, or scientific, but the common denominator is that the belief itself takes on an identity and a life of its own, quite independent of the actual facts they claim to pertain to. Like the other gods we just discussed, they usually acquire a priestly class who administers and directs how the beliefs are interpreted and applied. And that priestly class, if successful, draws a dedicated and fervent following. In their most advanced forms, the belief becomes institutionalized, and the propagation and protection of the faith becomes a matter of survival for these institutions. What would our world look like if we dropped these false gods? What would our world look like if we refused to accept dogmas and refused to allow intermediaries to tell us how to interpret reality? That's not a rhetorical question. If you want more content like this, please subscribe to this channel, Storm Clouds Gathering, here on YouTube. Let us know what you think in the comments. But if that's not enough, if you want to interact more, be sure to find us on Facebook, facebook.com/stormcloudsgathering, and on Twitter at Collapse Updates. For all of our videos plus bonus content, be sure to check in at stormcloudsgathering.com. And don't forget, Wednesday nights, which is tonight, we have our roundtable discussion where you can call in and bring up any topic that you'd like to discuss. You can find us at blogtalkradio.com/root of the issue, all one word. Also, you can download those same roundtable discussions via iTunes by searching for Root of the Issue.